You can just count down and we'll just go on raw like that. It don't matter. Testimony. No, we're ready when you are. All right.
Gloria Montgomery.
Gloria Montgomery, see her on there.
Hey,
Coming
hey.
the first one up. First one up.
Come down the aisle. You just win.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, you hear that one?
It's time now for the teaching of Pastor J.E. Sturdivant of Faith United Ministries. Tune in
Not of Faith
now
United
as we
Ministries.
look into the Word of God.
Wait, there's another one.
Faith. Now, here's Pastor J.E. Sturdivant.
Well, God bless you. God bless you. God bless every one of you.
Yep.
Every one of you. You heard the song.
Yeah.
You heard my name. You know what this is. This is Pastor J.E. Sturdivant, Brother J.E. Sturdivant. Some say Dr. J.E. Sturdivant. Others say J.E. Sturdivant. Some say J.E.
Right.
Some say Sturdivant. Call me whatever you want to call me, but don't call me late for dinner or late to pick up a check.
Oh,
but
my.
call my name.
Oh, my.
It is good to be here,
Yay.
and we are here on
Yep.
Church Talk
Yep.
Radio.
Yep.
This is Eyes of Faith, Back to Basics radio broadcast, where we
Yes.
are dealing with everyday problems using biblical principles. Just some practical stuff
Yeah.
to help you make it through the day,
Yes.
through your life while you're in this hump day, this middle of the week day, while you are just a couple of hours before getting off from work day. It's good to be here and it's good to be back. I'm telling you, I am still feeling some of the side effects of traveling. Just got in from Nigeria just about a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I am
Welcome
back.
back.
I'm back. I am back.
back.
I'm telling you, it's good to be back here.
Welcome.
All of you all in the YouTube family. God bless you. God bless you. I saw a few of you all logging on, and I know people are so shocked, because they're used to us coming on Facebook, and the transition will
doing
take
that
a
for a
while.
year.
Yeah, but we're not going
Nope,
back.
we're not going
Just
back.
because you don't want to go forward with us, we will not go back. We're still. Wait a minute, really?
That was a word.
That was a-
That was a word.
Right. Because some people are good for you in your history,
Yeah.
but they ain't no good for you in your destiny.
Say a word, sir.
Bishop Frazier, do you hear these bootleg preachers over here trying to hoot and
Nah.
tone behind
pushing
me?
you.
They're just, I don't even know what to make of this. Holding us down in the church
Bishop
talk family.
Frazier.
It's Bishop
Yay.
Frazier. She's holding us down. And you all over here trying to act like you can take some classes from Bishop Frazier.
I'm ready.
No,
We're
don't
gonna
do
be there
that.
in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
I'm
my
ready,
gracious.
Bishop.
Oh, my. Is
I'm
that
ready.
what we
Or
got?
do you want us to be like what they're doing now, where they had the full band in a little computer, and all he has to
Get that-
do is
Bang.
press the button, and there you go.
Bang.
You showed it to me, right? So we can
Put your
have
blinker
that.
on.
We can have that.
God works in mysterious ways. But
Right.
you don't have to.
We better go ahead and invest it. We better go ahead and invest it for the broadcast.
Oh my gosh.
Right. We're gonna have one.
It's like for all of you musicians, think
Right.
the pastor can't make it without you.
Oh, they can.
He
Watch
gonna
you.
have it
Watch
right
you.
there
And it
beside
modulates.
it. And modulates.
And it modulates.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, you can tell we're back. We're
Yes,
back. We're
we
back.
here,
We're
we
back.
here.
Let me take a moment to just thank those who are my
Thank
co-hosts
God. Thank
and
you.
my cohorts
Yes.
in crime ministry and in broadcasting. I've got here YouTube family, Church Talk family. I've got StephTheBest.net,
There she is.
.org.com,
There
the
she
DOT.edu, box of dots, sitting in the candy shelf. at the movie theater, when you go to see your favorite movie. I'm telling you, she is there. And we thank God so much for Steph. And I told them on my other broadcast that I was feeling some sort of way because it was almost like you never see Superman and Clark Kent in the same room at the same time. She got her Superman shirt on. So you never see Superman and Clark Kent in the same room at the same time. But now you see Superwoman and Clark Kent in the same room at the same time because prior to this, I was here, but Steph wouldn't show up. You know, she wouldn't show up.
She wouldn't show up. She
She
was
would not
supposed to, but she
show
didn't.
up. Oh, she just wouldn't.
Yeah.
She would not show up. You know, and so now that I'm back, she's looking at me like I held it down while you were gone. Like I wasn't supposed to show up. So before she wouldn't show up, and now she acts like I'm not supposed to show up. But you know, God is working out these issues and everything, and so now we're both here. So Steph, the best, greet the people, say hi to them and everything.
Hey, YouTube Church Talk. It's Wednesday. Woo! Some second dose. I'm ready. I'm excited. Thank you everybody who tuned in last week. We did have some technical difficulties, but you guys stayed in there with us.
I did.
Definitely appreciate that. And I'm glad you guys came back. Now, I hope you told somebody to come in and listen with you today.
Where did you want them to come?
I want you to come on the radio. That's actually better. I want you to come on in the room. Come on.
What can't see it? Where are you? Don't nobody say that high. Don't nobody say that high.
That is way too high. I said, come on.
Wait a minute, but she's like,
You saw the fight? I found it and then I got it.
yeah, we're not gonna even. We're gonna
You
stay in
went
the
too high
hall.
with it.
I'm high soprano.
I didn't know that you were.
No, we're gonna stay in the hall. We're not coming. We're gonna just stay right out
Right,
here.
don't invite me.
And
Don't invite me in the room.
our sister Lexi Allen, she talks about everything happens when you come into the room.
Right.
CeCe Winans talks about all of the thing that comes in the throne room. So listen, Steph just was thinking
Steph
she was
kicked you
CeCe
out of the room.
and Lexi together.
She kicked you out of the room.
Yeah, but anyway, we're glad all of you all are there. We appreciate you so very much. And then I've also got here, and you're not really fully on there.
I am. Scoot
There
over.
we, okay, there we go.
Yes.
She already said today I needed some soap. Didn't she?
You know what?
No, she did say that.
I was saying it as far as a blessing because it's good.
Right.
It's good for all of
Trying
us.
to fix it up.
Fix it. I was
Trying to fix it up. Trying to fix it up.
Sounds good.
Fix it up, Shirley. And then we have Jossia.
Hey, y'all.
Say hi to the folks.
Hey, y'all. Look, Pastor, let me just show you because you're not hip on this.
Okay.
This is new thing that comes out where it's a female thing that they do. And if they're going to put you in your place or tell you some facts that you need to know,
Right.
they end it with a sound effect.
Wait a
so
minute.
if I were to do something as far as saying, I love God, do you? That's what they do. Don't stop. Am I
Right.
wrong?
Okay.
So if that comes out in the middle of a point that you're saying, don't think that I'm like trying to, I'm agreeing with you.
Right.
That's what's in right now. If you go on your social media, you'll see people doing
See, but
things.
it's going to be kind of weird. No. I can go with that. I can flow through because, y'all keeping me up to date.
I'm just letting you know.
But the first time I see a grown man say, "Brook," I'm like, okay, no, I'm done with you. I'm like,
Me too.
sir,
Yeah.
you better go. "Brook." If your voice is,
Yeah, if it's doing that, that's something else.
we're not going that way.
Mostly females do it.
Yeah. Sir, no.
So, good afternoon, y'all. Church Talk Radio, good to see y'all, YouTube family.
No.
We are happy to be here, y'all. We are back. We're back. I was saying earlier, like it's nothing like having the whole team here. See, look, you got her laughing. There's nothing like having the whole team here because we genuinely have a connection. This is not something that we just turned on when we did a broadcast and turned it off. Like we like this all the time.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Because you gotta have balance. Bible over bags, as my shirt says.
Bible
You have
over
to-
bags,
Yeah.
Bible over
Bible.
babes,
Yeah.
Bible over buns, boobs, booties.
Shut all
Bible
that.
over booties.
Brothers, boyfriends,
Yeah.
Bible over all of those things. And with that, comes balance. So
Wait a minute.
We have it, yeah. We have my BBB. We have it. We have it.
No, that I can't do that.
You all sound like you're cold.
Yeah, but I can't. I'd rather
You better sound cold.
I'd rather sound cold than that other one.
It's like burn. It's like, yeah. Larry about it.
All right, good to see y'all, Church Talk Radio. We happy to be here. We just having a little bit of fun because it's the midday. Y'all trying to get off work and you just need some humor.
We've gotta
just to
get you
kind of
there.
help you. And this is the second dose, the second scoop of our Double Dose Wednesday.
And most church people, unfortunately, they don't think you can have fun without sinning.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
and
don't know what
that's
they
really
think.
bad. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what's made church and Christianity seem like it's so stale because you're acting like all Jesus ever did was walk around, perform miracles, kick people out of church, raise the dead, open blind eyes, and never laugh,
Promise he had a sense of humor.
never smile.
Oh, definitely does.
I'm just trying to get you all to get it. And one time there was somebody asking about him, you know, and he said, "Listen, you tell that old fox." You know, he called the king an old fox. It shows you he had humor because he wasn't trying to say like he was sly or slick. He was saying it the same way. He said, "You tell that joke I said such and such and such." And so you've got to have balance in your life. It doesn't hurt you to be a Christian, but to enjoy comedy.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy yourself.
Keeps you
Laugh
young,
a little bit.
keeps you
Yeah,
young.
dude. Yeah, dude. Keep your face from being wrinkled. You walking
Yeah.
around looking like you serious all the time. Your face looking like balled up Reynolds wrap.
I can tell
There
what's
is
happening
a
now.
problem, and you 27.
Oh no, not 27.
You are only
I didn't know you was gonna say
27.
that. Yeah.
You are 27, and you looking like you're in your 50s.
Yeah, because you're not
Stop
laughing.
it.
Gotta laugh.
Laugh more. The Bible says that laughter does a heart good like medicine. So you need to laugh a little bit. Hi everyone. Hey, how you doing, my
Wanda
daughter
Briscoe.
Wanda Briscoe? You know she got another book out.
She's doing some amazing
She's got another
things.
book out. Has a new ministry out, helping people to make it through the concept of cancer. She is trying to teach classes so that people can be ready to handle those types of things.
I appreciate that. Although she's had some personal traumas in
Yes.
her life, although recently she's endured some recent tragic traumas with
Some
her
losses,
family.
yeah.
She still,
Yes, Lord.
She is going hard like never before, supporting people, but then making her own thing happen.
But that's the thing you do is
Yeah.
when the devil messes with you,
That's when you go
have
harder.
to show him, oh, no,
go
devil. I'm not who you messed with
Right.
5 years ago.
Right.
I am not who you messed with 10 years ago. I'm not that silly girl. I'm not that insecure guy. I'm coming back with a vengeance. And if that's not bad enough, she messed around and went and because you know she moved from where she was, came back up this way, was staying one area, then had to move from there, went back home, and the Lord messed around and said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that your setbacks were set up for a comeback. And now she's went and looked and she put on Facebook and showed where she not only closed on the land,
Yeah.
but showed where her new house is going to be built.
Wow.
See, that's what you do. That's what you do.
do
You take the tragedy and turn it into triumph. That's my book, No Longer Crumpled. You turn your tragedy into a triumph. You let everything that the devil tried to throw at you, every brick he threw at you, take it and build your brand.
Who
Right.
did it?
Build
God
your
did
house.
it. Who did it?
Wait a minute.
God did it.
Wait a minute.
Who did it?
What?
God did it. Who did it? God did it.
Oh, I feel the old person shout coming on me.
Did it?
I feel it.
Who did it? God did it.
Got my hand on my hip, church talk. I got my hand on my hip, church talk.
God did it.
My glasses coming down on my nose. Now, church talk.
God did it.
They ain't ready. They ain't ready for that kind of Holy Ghost.
Why the hand back there?
It's got to go back
It
here.
secures it?
Oh no, it's just like, you know, James Brown taught us how to shout. He said, "Put your hands on your hip and let your backbone slip."
Oh, okay.
James Brown, the Reverend Dr. James Brown.
I gotta do that.
He taught us how to do it. That's old people just used to shout like this.
I have to bring that back.
Oh, I'm
I'm
trying to
bring it
tell
back.
you.
I think I'm gonna bring it back.
That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
That one.
Everybody got that
You can
new
do that
stuff.
one.
That was the Holy Ghost that you had when you ain't have nothing
No
else.
music, no nothing.
No,
music,
you ain't have
just-
to have no. You see how we just now got into it
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
hands clapping? I felt it.
Yeah.
You could have played the organ. I'd be like, here, sit. I don't need all this new riffs and all the new runs. I need the old back. See, Glenn Montgomery said, we are amazing
God bless you.
because we got the ghost.
Yes.
The Holy Ghost. We got that ghost. That Holy Ghost. I like the step just let her get this one. Just, she started off like this. Then it goes to her hands. Because she started just her shoulders. First step like this. Then it goes to her hands. And her eyes are open up. Because we first get started, it's just her
Right.
shoulders and her eyes are closed.
That's
Then he gets to her hands.
Yeah.
Then her eyes open up. It's like, man, the ghost moved through various parts of her body at different times.
One part at a time.
It cannot be the hands and the eyes open at the same time. Eyes closed first.
I love it.
To let the hands get theirs in.
Right. You gotta.
I like that the body part wants all the body
Yeah,
parts to get it.
And your body parts are rude. See, it let the head go by
That's
itself
right,
first.
that's right.
And then, yeah.
That's it. It's like, no, you go ahead,
Right.
shoulders. You go in and praise the shoulders.
I'm gonna give you your
Shoulders,
shine.
shoulders, get yours. Get yours. Okay, y'all slow down now so the hands can get there.
No, he's playing way too much. He's playing way too much. Gwen Thompson said we gotta make her
That was Gwen
dead. She
Thompson.
said we make her dead. Look.
Oh,
we
I'm
just,
telling
we
you.
just try to have fun.
We
Let's
give you
go.
life.
That's it.
We give you life.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. I'm sitting there sweating.
Oh man, but while we're doing that, do we want to do this now or want to do this later?
Go
What
on
y'all
and do
tell
it,
me?
because while I'm sweating, every time I wipe my hair, I see color coming on.
It's like I'm number 45.
Look, y'all. So not only does he play too much, but he's also he's an author. He is an author. He has written several books, 6 books. Church Talk Radio. Y'all hear it every week. This man.
We just ran out of some of my books that I
Oh,
did
man.
with Bishop Jeremiah Wright. We just ran out of the
The
from one brother to
The
another.
Brothers Keeper book.
We
yeah.
ran out of
Yeah.
those, so I'm gonna have to order some more from him or something.
It's that
Yes.
book. That book. That's for all guys. You
Yes,
know.
Lord. And so,
Mhm.
you know, if you're a guy, if you are married to a guy, if you've got a nephew that you need to get something to, a grandfather or uncle, that book, it doesn't matter what color you are, from one brother to another, it talks about the traumas that men go through by by various things. And one of the sections I wrote in there was, "My father didn't bother." And it was taken from a rap song that actually Shaquille O'Neal did many years ago. And it talked about when the father did not bother to be involved in the life of the son, how that had an effect on him. And so I'm going to get some more of them, but I want you to go ahead and just start looking for it, because it's a very powerful piece written by several men of God all across the land.
So he's written these books, and let me tell you all, because he's been doing this. I'm gonna put this down because I'm about to great clap. He's been teaching for a long time, but we just finished celebrating his preaching anniversary. 38
38
years. It's your anniversary. It's your anniversary. It's your anniversary.
Ain't
It's your anniversary. It's your anniversary. It's your anniversary. It is. I like that. No, yeah. So Church Talk, we just celebrated him. He's been preaching.
That's crazy. Legally.
Legally preaching.
Because I was bootlegging like Janice and Steph did. I did that for a few years.
He's been preaching legally licensed for 38 years. And so you already know the wisdom that has come as a result of all of these years of being in the Word of God and going around the world, literally going around the world, sharing the gospel. And as a result, 6 books has come out of him, and he has more books that's coming out this year. So when we're saying as far as support, we're not just saying to support somebody who just started doing this last night.
No.
He's been doing this. He has some years under his belt, and all of these books that he's written, these books, I know that we go through them, but we have to get into the teaching, but these books are timeless. Encouragement in small doses, hearing and knowing the voice of God, daily confessions for impacting your world, no longer crippled from trauma to triumph, a divine hunger, and learning to soar. All of these books will be a blessing to you, and you can get them. They are available. You can get them by going to his personal website. Some of y'all haven't been on the website yet, and you can know what Pastor is doing, whether it's his sermons, whether it's his teachings, his Mosaic gathering, where he has a calling of people coming together every Monday to impart what God has given them to a select few people. Some of the events and engagements that he has coming up this year. It's a lot that's going on with Pastor Sturdivant that you want to be a part of. Go to his webpage, www.jesturdivantministries.com.
STRIES.
Again, www.jesturdivantministries.com.
STRIES.
When you go on there, you'll see nothing but what he's doing. It's nobody else but Pastor Sturdivant and his events. You can be a part, or if you want to sow a seed, because this has been a blessing to you. This ministry, this teaching, his sermons, or just him just being available, him being accessible.
Lord, I'm available to you. rocking? Are we rocking?
Use me, Lord,
To show someone the way and enable me to say, my storage is empty.
my storage is empty,
And I am available.
and I am available to you.
See how we just gave you all that? You see that? We have music
Right,
to back up ministry.
we do. Eminem.
We do not melt in your head.
So please enjoy that. Support this music ministry. Support this awesome ministry. If you want to sow a seed, you can do that by going to Cash App, because that's what's trending if you're technology savvy. And that handle is the $ capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Again, if you want to sow a seed via Cash App, that handle is the $ capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Or if you want to just be a sponsor, be a supporter of Back to Basics broadcast, or one pastor to be a part of the next event engagement, you can contact me, Janice Sturdivant, and I can be reached at 301-736-2388.
Say the number now.
301-736-2388.
Tell them one more time.
301-736-2383.
You got to give her a call.
Call me.
Well, listen, we're excited about being here. And we have been dealing with you over the past few months. If you've missed my earlier broadcast, you have to go in there because we're dealing with relationships and how there is dysfunction in the home. And our afternoon sessions, we're dealing in the area of relating, but relating from the perspective of how you love.
How deep is your love?
How much do you love yourself? The record is in Luke chapter number 10, verse 27, Luke 10, verse 27, it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. And then it says, and your neighbor as yourself. That means to the degree or to the measure or to the level that you love yourself. You know, if we all actually loved everyone the way that we love ourselves, thank you so much, Tracy Jefferson, for that anniversary shout out. If we loved everyone the way that we loved ourselves, then that means that when I go to the store intent on buying something for me, I have to change and buy something for you.
Absolutely.
Because I'm loving my neighbor, and my neighbor is anybody other than me, as myself. That means that if I was planning on using some profanity and cussing you out, I consider how I would feel if that happened to me, so I keep it to myself.
Yeah.
You've got to know that loving your neighbor as yourself, the way that you respond, how you respond or express is not about how the person is or even what they have done. It is about you. The record is, when you get a chance, you look at it in Matthew chapter number 12, verse 34 through 37, Matthew 12, verse 34 through 37, and you hear the Lord start saying certain things such as, you know, you cannot have sweet and bitter water coming out of the same fountain. He says, you're a brood of vipers, you can't do this and you can't do that. And he winds up making a statement that says something that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it doesn't matter whether the person is having a rough day and they're kirking out and doing everything like that. That may be what they are. But your that prefix, that re, means that if you come back at them based on how they were, you have given them your power. You have given them your control. You have given them your strength. You have literally weakened yourself by giving someone your power or your control by letting their words or their actions dictate to you. You know, I'm always amazed with so-called Christians, and I always say so-called when it comes to Christians, when it comes to church or whatever, simply because what people are seeing as Christianity or seeing as church is so far removed from God's intention for what we are supposed to be. You do realize that according to Genesis chapter number 1, verse 26 and 27, Genesis 1, verse 26 and 27, we are made in the image and the likeness of God. So that means that God wants to see himself when he looks at you.
Right.
If we're made in the image and the likeness of God, when you go into a mirror, you look at the mirror, and the mirror shows the image of the one that's looking into it. So if we're made in the image and likeness of God, when people look at us, they ought to see God because we are his image. Have you considered what does God look like to the person who sees you? When I'm dealing with my daughters, I always have said, that we're now living in 2018. And Janice and Steph are what God would look like in 2018 if he were a female their age. That's a scary thing, because that then means that God looks like whatever I'm representing if he were living in 2018 as a 60-year-old man.
That's very true.
His faith would look like what my faith looks like. His patience would look like what my patience looks like. His understanding would look like what my understanding looks like. His love would look like what my love looks like. Because I am supposed to be a representative of him. So the miracles would be based on what miracles people see me performing.
Right.
His ability would look like what people see me doing. And so God is not being properly represented by the so-called church and so-called Christians. My cousin Ty just came on. So people are not mad at God. People are mad at the ones who are supposed to be his representatives. People are not upset with church. People are upset with those who are supposed to be the representatives of the body of Christ. Go back and watch my broadcast from earlier today. So it's not that people do not have a proper picture of the love of God. They have not seen the proper picture of the love of God represented in those who claim to be God's representatives. And so you'll walk into so-called churches and see so-called men and women of God who are behaving in a way that is not godly. And so the people look and say, that's why I don't go to church. Well, you don't go to church because you don't want to go to church, because you've gone to restaurants and had bad waitresses and you didn't stop going to restaurants. You have gone to clothing stores and people put you in something that had you looking jacked up, but you still kept going to clothing stores. So you can't use that as an excuse. But I understand that there has been some misrepresentation. And what we're doing with this Back to Basics Eyes of Faith broadcast is not that we are saying that we have arrived, but we do believe that it is possible for us to arrive. You are just catching us while we are on our journey to getting there, taking the basics of the Word of God and making it applicable to your everyday life. So we have to love God the way we love ourselves and love our neighbors based on how we've learned that love from God. Because once I know God love, it's easy for me to love you. Can I tell you all some things very, very honestly? I've now been married for 40 years. My wife and I have been together for more than 45 years, and I've got 4 grown children. And I cannot tell you that every day has been one where I've been exceedingly glad in it. You must understand. But what I've had to do in the stages, based on whatever my wife was doing, and I'm sure she's had to do it with whatever I was doing, or whatever my children were doing, and I'm sure they've had to put up with whatever I was doing at the time, is that you live beyond the moment and you love through the example of Jesus.
Yeah.
You live beyond the moment, meaning that whatever they are doing is beyond this moment. So you have to live beyond the moment and then love them through Jesus. Why? Because love does not stop being love even if the object of love is unlovable. Boy, I just messed you all up right there. Church Talk family, YouTube, love does not stop being love just because the object of that love is unlovable. That is why we say in John 3:16, For God so loved the world. Steph, it does not say the world so loved God. God so loved the world until he gave himself. Love gives of itself. Now, anyone who thinks that they should be always getting is not one that is genuinely loving. Oh my. Y'all weren't ready for that. Y'all weren't ready for that. You are not really loving if you are thinking you should always be the recipient. God so loved the world till he gave. You have to think about what the world was. He came to his own and his own received him not. The more God tried to make ways for his children, his people, they would wind up going farther and farther away from him.
Wow.
When he saw that they could not get it together, he came himself in the form of a baby, the most vulnerable, innocent, dependent thing that there is on earth, a baby. And he came that way, putting himself in the hands of people to take care of him, knowing that they were actually handling the one that would deliver them.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to be careful how you handle folk. Because they might just be your deliverance and you don't even know it. I know I'm helping somebody right now because it's messing up your whole concept of what you think is love. I just gave my bottom. Then you never loved. Because love does not stop being love, even if the object of the love is unlovable. You all saw this in that Corinthians chapter number 10, verse 13, where it says, Corinthians 13, verse 1 through 8, Corinthians 13, verse 1 through 8, where it starts talking about love suffers long, love is kind, love does not parade itself, love does not seek its own. Love, all of these things it talks about love. Love does not stop being love if it were ever love. I fell out of love. No, I've told you all before. You don't fall out of love. You choose to stop working at love. Love shows up in coveralls. Love shows up with boots and gloves on. Love shows up dirty. Love shows up with all kinds of stuff hanging on it. You know why? Because love goes into every jacked up situation to get the individual out in the name of love. That's what makes a mother keep believing in her son who's got 45 years in prison because of something he has done when he was free. That's what makes a father keep believing that his daughter is still going to be all right when her lifestyle goes completely against everything that was the pattern and the dream of the family. That's what makes a wife keep hanging in and holding on to a husband who doesn't hold down a job, who does not have the ability to be on the level that she is, but she still hangs in with him. That's what makes a husband keep on believing in a wife who has had multiple affairs and who has had children by the affairs, and the husband keeps on taking them on as if they were his own when he knew that they weren't. Because love does not stop being love, even though the object of that love is unlovable. Brother Sturdivant, I don't know if I can do that. I can't do that. Well, Hosea was a man, a prophet, a man of God, who had to deal with the fact that his wife was a prostitute. She was a whore, and she slept around with everything and had children by each one of the people that she was with, yet he hung in with her, and even though she was washed up, no good, and had spent her best years of her youth out being a whore, he still bought her when she was being auctioned off as a washed up, used up prostitute and slave. He bought her and brought her back to the house. And everyone was looking at him and saying, how can you call yourself a man of God? And God said to him, he said, prophet, I want you to go and take a wife of whoredoms, take her, let all of these things happen, and then I want you to buy her back because I want my people to know that that's the kind of love I have for them. them that when they go against me and go to other nations and go and do all kinds of perversions and all kinds of things, I love them enough to go and buy them back. And that's what Jesus did in John 3:16. He gave himself for a whorish, perverted people that were in love with the world, did not want him, did not have a desire for him. He came to his own did not receive him, and yet to as many as received him, to them he gave the power to become the children of God. He did not think that, well, you all rejected me, and you rejected me, and so I'm just going to say to hell with you all. He came to you. He came to me. He came to us, knowing we would reject him, and still said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't even know that I am what they need. But his love won us over. And that's what I'm trying to tell somebody that's listening to me right now, that you really don't have love until your love is one that makes you see that you should be a giver and not just a taker. Love doesn't keep score. Love doesn't say, I said I'm sorry the last time, you need to say it this time.
Right.
Love doesn't say, but why do I have to always be looking like a punk? Love doesn't say, why do I have to be the one that's, I'm not the one that did anything wrong. Jesus was sinless, had done nothing wrong. We owed a debt we could not pay, but he paid the debt he did not owe, and he did not charge it to us. That's why the old song of the church, Bishop Frazier, it says, Jesus paid it all. All to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, but he washed it white as snow. I brought a little Baptist up in there for somebody. Y'all feeling that now, ain't you? Hey. Come on, shake your head. I know y'all feeling that, Holy Ghost. Look, they got Hosea 3:1 up in there. They put it up there. Y'all want to say anything before I jump into this?
I think it's significant, even when you kind of think about it from a flip side perspective. When I was thinking about it, you think about it from an owner of a pet.
Yep.
And it's crazy because with working with the suicide hotline,
Come on, suicide
and
hotline.
you hear people wanting to give up because they were disappointed by love from people
Yeah.
who they thought should have loved them, whether it was their family or their friends.
Right.
And they're wanting to give up on life just because they didn't feel the love.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, well, the only thing that's keeping me as far as staying here is my dog.
Wow.
Or my cat. Now,
Wow.
a dog or a cat can't verbally say, I love you. They cannot verbally say
Right,
that.
right.
But in their subtle ways or in their actions, they show love. And we go all out for our pets. We do everything that we need to do for the pets as far as grooming and keeping them healthy and buying them food and doing all of that. Although they may not have verbally said that they love us,
Right.
they still show us the love. And it's so crazy because something so not able to say the
Right,
word love,
right.
as far as a pet, we go all out for.
Come on.
We go all out
Come
for.
on.
And it's just how we even just look at it from when you was making the point of something that's not able to give love back.
Right.
Something that's not, able to actually verbally say that. And we do all of that because we love that. So I thought that was just an interesting analogy to compare to the point that you was making.
That's right.
As far as, although they may not be able to give love back, if the love is real, you will continue to do because that's what the love is.
And you'll do that for an animal.
An animal.
But then you'll give up on an individual.
Yep.
Because they don't say I love you.
Exactly.
Or because they don't give you anything back. Or because they don't whatever. But you accept that from an animal.
From an animal.
But then here is someone that is made in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah.
Here is someone that is flesh, blood, and bone just like you. And you give up on them.
Yeah.
I'm glad that God is God and I'm not.
I promise.
Listen,
Yes.
and you all need to be glad
Yeah.
that God is God and I'm not.
Right.
No, because it's easy to go postal on people.
Yeah.
It's easy to just have those moments and everything, whereas you're like, what's the point? But I'm glad that God did not do that towards us. Steph, you want to say something before I go on?
Yeah, it's amazing that how God's love is when you think about it. Because I know all that I do, I know how I move and what I think, and even if I don't say it, like I know what's on my mind. And
Right.
God continues to love me, and He doesn't, push me to the side or give up on me. And I'm just so grateful for that, just thinking about it, because sometimes I don't even love myself that
Right.
much.
Right. And God loves you literally, because people will say it. I can love you enough for both of us, but that's not what they really mean.
Right.
They mean I'm hoping that within a certain time frame you get your crazy self together and we can work at this thing. But God literally loved us enough for Him and for us, because His love is unending.
Right.
Unending. I shared 3 things about that John 3:16 passage of scripture. Is that number 1, for God so loved the world He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. Number 1, His love is unconditional, because it says whosoever.
Yeah.
It's unconditional. But then it also says He so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. There is no statement in there where it says to what degree. It says He so loved. His love is unrelenting. It's unconditional. It's unrelenting, and it says He so loved the world. It is unending, meaning that you've not done so much that God can't get you back up. You've not messed up so much that God does not want you. People want you to change quickly because they know they're gonna get tired.
Yeah.
How long you gonna be doing this? And it's like, wait a minute. Aren't you the same one that Aunt Mary told us wilded out for 40 years and just got yourself together 2 months ago? Aren't you that same one? Yeah, but well, I'm not even as old for as long as you've been wilding out. You wilded out for 40 years.
Right, I'm not even that old.
I'm 27.
Yeah.
I got at least 13 more.
Yeah.
I got 13 more years before I've been living as long as you've been wilding out. And that's the thing, is that we sometimes don't realize how narrow-minded we are when it comes to people, and how your love is really not love. It's tolerance. You will tolerate, but you don't really love. I'm hitting you in some very, that was one of those below the belt punches right there, because I'm now making you challenge everything that you say that you love. The R&B singer years ago, R. Kelly, said, I love you like my Jeep. I love you like my car. I love you like my this. And he was equating the love of his girl with his love for a vehicle. His love for a basketball, a vehicle, something you use. A basketball is something you dribble. Objects that have no real whatever. And so it's no wonder that he has had some failed relationships and things that are going on like that. Why? Because if you don't have a proper perspective of love towards an individual, you will make the individual an object where you direct your love instead of an individual that you give your love.
Yeah.
Love is not a feeling. Love is not an emotion. Love is a decision. I decide to love you. So if it seems like we have outgrown each other, we have not outgrown each other. And I hear the so-called church and so many so-called preachers and people that are now giving you reasons as to why it's okay to no longer fight for a thing. But you've got to fight for love. I told you, love shows up in dungarees. It's bloody. It's muddy. It's been in some wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Love had to go and get into a pigsty with a prodigal son in Luke 15 to make him come back home to his father. Love had to go up on an auction block for Hosea's whorish wife, Gomer, in order to get her to come back home. I'm telling you, love had to get nailed to a bloody cross in order to get a world to come back to its Redeemer. Love does not show up pretty and pristine and, oh, look at these flowers. Oh, this is so beautiful. Ew, you must really love me. All that stuff is superficial. They bring you flowers, but won't go out and get a job to help support you. You understand? Yet you believe that he loves you, that she loves you. She won't do this, he won't do that, but you hear the word love and immediately think that seals the deal. If love were a word, we'd be okay. But love is a decision and it's an action. It is a verb. It is something that must be done actively. So I want to look at something. I told you love was unconditional, love is unending, love is unrelenting from John 3:16. But please, Steph, would you look at John chapter 15, John 15. John 15, verses 12 and 13. John 15, verses 12 and 13.
This is my commandment.
What is his commandment?
That you love one another.
Wait a minute. That you do what?
Love one another.
Uh-huh.
As I have loved you.
Now watch this. It is my commandment that you love one another using what yardstick? As I have loved you. My barometer is this. I'm loving you the way I've received love from Jesus. That's why it said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and your strength, and your neighbor as yourself. So I have to love you using the measuring stick of how Jesus has loved me. Whew. I did a sermon on love maybe about 2 years ago. I can't remember the title of it, but it was dealing with the concept how love winds up having to have forgiveness even when the person that you are trying to forgive would have killed you if they had a chance. So both of y'all said at the same time. It's like stereo. So I've got to love, what does it say again? As I
have loved you.
Uh-huh.
Greater love.
Greater love. Come on.
Has no one than this.
Yep.
Than to lay down one's life for his friends.
Now watch this. Real love, even on the friendship level, says that I've got to be willing to lay down my life for you if you're just my friend. So that means I've got to love you selflessly. Because if I'm going to love you enough to lay down my life, that means I've got to do like Reverend Dr. Prince told us some years ago. He said, ooh, baby, I would die for you. That is if you want me to, you know. So if you're willing to die for someone, I'm about to mess you up. That's really just friendship level.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many of your friends are you willing to die for? And if you're not willing to die for them, can you say truly that they are your friend? Oh, God. I did the hoop for you. Yes, Lord. Can you really say that they are your friend? And think about how many people we call our friends.
But then the flip part is that when you hear people who say, that's why I don't got no friends.
Right.
Because I ain't willing to do that.
Yep.
So you're willing to just be alone than to have somebody that you value.
No, because they hope that they'll run into somebody who would be willing to die for them to be a friend. That's why most relationships, wait a minute, they ain't relationships, Steph. Come on, tell them the word. Situationships. You don't have no relationship, you got a situationship.
Yeah.
You use people based on what they do for you. You have a situationship, not a relationship. I'm helping somebody. I'm liberating somebody right now too. Now, what you do with this information is going to be up to you. But you need to recognize if there are some people that are in your life that they are wanting you to be the giver and they the taker, and they never think that they should have to give. Real love on the friendship level. Greater love has no man than this. This is Jesus talking. Come on, I believe Jesus. What Jesus say? He says, you have no greater love than this. You lay down your life for your friends. Selflessly. Let's look at Ephesians chapter number 5, verse 25. Ephesians 5, verse 25, please, because I want to try to get through these real quickly. Come on, read Ephesians 5, verse 25.
Husbands,
Husbands,
love your wives.
wait a minute. Husbands, love your wife. So the command, sir, is for you to be the reservoir, the spring, the initiator of love. Husbands, love your wives. The man is supposed to be the initiator, the originator of love. It flows from the man. If you want to be the head, the king, the priest, in every other area, why don't you want to be the beginning, the starter of love? You can't want to be, you gonna respect me and my hoe, you gonna what? All of that stuff, if you're not gonna want to be the one who starts, generates, gets the love going. It's got to start with you, sir. It's got to start with you. Come on, daughter.
Just as Christ also loved the church.
How did Christ love the church? He so loved the world, his church, his body. What did he do?
And gave himself for her.
He gave himself. He refers to the church from a feminine perspective. And gave himself. He gave himself, his blood to wash her. Please read some more.
That he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word.
In other words, he says, I am the word, so I release myself upon my bride, the church. The church is the bride of Christ. All every preacher is the bridegroom's friend. We are the best man. Paul says that Jesus Christ is the bridegroom, and we have been called to be the ones that keep his bride chaste until he comes. So our assignment as preachers, as pastors, we are supposed to be the best man that takes a look out for the bride to make sure that she stays faithful to her fiance until he comes back for her. It is not our responsibility, get ready, to make the church love us. I am not supposed to want the ministry that God has given to me love me. If I get mad at the ministry because it does not love me, I am now asking the ministry to have an affair with me on her fiance. And that's where we miss it. We put all of our time into the ministry, all of our energy into the ministry, all of our time into the church, all of our years into the church, and we think that the church's responsibility is to love us in return. You are supposed to love your wife as Christ loved the church. Or if you are a woman, pastor, love your husband. But don't look for the church to love you. That's not your responsibility. Sheep don't love the shepherd. Sheep use the shepherd to get him to pull out the food to feed them. You've got to understand what your role is. Otherwise, you'll become frustrated with the membership because of what they are or are not doing, man of God, woman of God, and try to browbeat them into doing something for you when they were never put on the position to do something for you. Neither were you put in the position to drain from them. Shepherds don't sleep with sheep. Shepherds don't sleep with sheep. Sheep sleep with sheep to produce more sheep. Okay.
Because it's not like the pastors or the best men was the one that actually proposed.
Right. We didn't propose to, that was Jesus. Jesus said, listen, sweetheart, I love you. He says, but I'm going to leave you this ring of engagement. And the ring of engagement is going to show up at your house on what we call the day of Pentecost.
Sure.
That's when the ring of engagement is going to come, and you shall receive power when the Holy Ghost has come upon you. He says, but I'm going away. Where are you going, Jesus? I'm going away to prepare a place for you. There is a bridal honeymoon bed that I'm making ready for when my bride can come to be with me. He says, and so I'm just expecting you to stay pure, which is why we know that we can be holy, because it is what the Lord is asking for. Remain chaste until I come. And he would not ask us to be something that we did not have the capability to be. Okay, all right. My time is getting away from me. It says, husbands, love your wife. What?
Love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water.
That he might sanctify her, that he might set her apart, which means that husbands, love your wife to this side, that you set her apart and it's just you and her. No one else. She must be your one and only. Find your fulfillment in her. Find your completion in her. Find everything that you want in her. And I've said it before, and I'm saying it as I'm about to lose the rest of my time here, that if we went by the Jewish concept, there was the daughter that was betrothed to the man in marriage, which is why Mary had the ability to be married. And yet when the angel came and said, you're going to have a child, she says, how can this be when I've not ever known a man? It is because she had not already test driven anything, and she and Joseph were already married, even though they had not consummated the marriage by coming together sexually. In the Jewish picture of marriage, what would happen is that the father would give his daughter, and then there would have to be a dowry or some money that was given, or some animals that were given to the betrothed husband, and then there was an agreement that she is a pure individual. And what would wind up happening is that when they would go home to consummate their marriage, there would be a clean, sanitized linen put underneath them, so that the moment that the husband would enter into his betrothed wife, he would penetrate her. The hymen would be broken, that thin layer of flesh, and the moment that he penetrated her, there would be blood that came out. And when the blood came out, because no one else had ever entered into her, then there would be blood that would come on that clean piece of linen, and then the husband would see that and be able to testify, yes, I have a pure woman. The hymen is where we get our word today. It's coming from the same root word where we get the word hymnal, the hymen and the hymnal. So in other words, whenever the man would penetrate the woman, it was an act of worship. It was worship that took place. The only problem is that today there is no one that has anyone entering into worship, because the hymen has been broken so many times until you've got thieves in the temple, as Prince said some years ago. And now a woman has now got to say that this lover is not as good as previous lovers. And the man says that she's not as good as previous companions. But if you used the Jewish concept, and no one, neither the man nor the woman, has ever been with anyone, that on the night when you all come together, even if he is inadequate, and even if she does not know whether to lay flat or to do, she doesn't know anything. Whenever he and she come together, if they are the very first times they've been together, then each of them will be the best they ever had, because you'll have no one else to compare them to. And what makes some people unhappy in their current relationships is that you have flashbacks of people that you have been with who were more this or more that, who looked like this or looked like that, who had this or had that. And as a result of being with those individuals, now you can't be happy with someone who might not have all of the stuff that somebody else may have had, which means that you will pass up who God may have had for you, looking for somebody to fulfill a fantasy, whether it is financial or physical or monetarily or something that they have done with the way that they look. You are now expecting for somebody else to fulfill a fantasy because you have it based on comparisons of other people that you should have never been with. My time is gone. Wow. I'm just dealing with this love, and I've given you 2 of the characteristics of the 5. Well, I've given you 3. That love has got to be so love. It's got to be love for one another. It's got to be one that is willing to sacrifice. I'll give you some more when we come together next time. Thank you so much, Church Talk. Thank you so much, YouTube. I am J.E. Sturdivant, and you again are?
Steph Fats.
And you are who one more time?
I am Janice.
And we are Back to Basics, Eyes of Faith radio broadcast. We approve this message. And you know why? Because some people are on the air. Thank you, Lisa Chu, because they have the ability to be on the air. Others are on the air because they like the way they sound on the air. But we are on the air because what? We got something to say. Say we got something to say. Come on. We got something to say. God bless you. We appreciate you. We love you so very, very much. Bye-bye now. Hey, listen, YouTube family, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I want to encourage you. We're going to be here tonight teaching a little bit. And of course, we're going to be giving away some groceries. We want you to come on by. And if you are here for the teaching, you can get some groceries. I'm telling you, God does not have to give you money. As long as he gives you something where you don't have to spend any money. We look forward to seeing you here. We are Bible teaching, Bible preaching, Bible believing, demon chasing, miracle performing ministry.
7905 Farnham Lane.
District Heights.
District Heights, Maryland. Come on through. Come on.
Wait a minute. No, don't do that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharon Wallace. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria Montgomery, for hanging in there
Share
with us.
this.
Please share it.
Please
share it.
your YouTube pages.
YouTube,
share it,
Instagram,
Facebook,
whatever
Facebook.
you do,
Yes,
thank
share
you.
it.
Ty Crawford, thank you so much, cousin. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, that would be like your third cousin.
Really?
Yeah, because his mother, no, he would be your second cousin because his sister is my second cousin because his father was my first cousin.
Gotcha.
He and his sisters are my second cousins.
Ah.
So that would make him your third cousin.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yes, please come by soon.
yeah,
Love to
please
meet
come
you,
by.
man.
Thank you. Want to see you. Want to see you. Want to see you. God bless you. We love you. Thank you, YouTube. Peace.